At 1740 Eastern Time on June 21st, 2025, a 30,000-pound GBU-57 Massive Ordnance Penetrator MOP tore through the Iranian night at 700 miles per hour, its hardened steel nose aimed at the heart of Iran's Fordow nuclear enrichment facility. In exactly 43 seconds, it would penetrate 200 feet of reinforced concrete and granite, reducing the deeply buried fortress to a smoldering crater. The MOP, a weapon so devastating that conventional bombs pale in comparison, showcased why the U.S. prioritizes military supremacy. This strike, dubbed Operation Desert Phantom, was a culmination of one of the most meticulously planned operations in over 2 decades, a masterclass in stealth, precision, and deception. 18 hours earlier, at Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, ground crews swarmed around AB-2 Spirit, one of only 19 operational stealth bombers, each valued at $2.1 billion, more than its weight in gold. The crew chief ran to the pre-flight checklist. 14 GBU-57 MOPs loaded on rotary launchers, conformal fuel tanks brimming with 180,000 pounds of JP-8 and APQ-181 radars in full stealth mode. At 0:01 Eastern Standard Time, the lead B-2, piloted by Major Sarah Hawk Thompson, rolled down Whiteman's 12,400-foot runway. Its 4 General Electric F-118 engines, each producing 17,300 pounds of thrust, whisper compared to conventional jets, lifting 336,500 pounds of aircraft and ordnance into the night. A shallow takeoff minimized infrared signatures, ensuring even friendly satellites saw little. 7 B-2s headed east toward Iran, while others flew west toward the Pacific, a brilliant deception to confuse Russian and Chinese intelligence. The backstory: decades of tension. The strike was rooted in decades of U.S.-Iran tensions over Tehran's nuclear program. Since the 2002 revelation of Fordow's existence, buried under a mountain near Qom, Iran's uranium enrichment defied international agreements. By 2025, Iran's stockpile of 20% enriched uranium neared weapons grade, per IAEA reports, prompting fears of a nuclear breakout. 7 U.S. administrations had grappled with this threat, from sanctions to diplomacy, but Iran's defiance persisted. Operation Desert Phantom was a decisive response, designed to dismantle Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan, key pillars of Iran's nuclear ambitions. Major Thompson, a 15-year Air Force veteran, knew the stakes. Her father, a Gulf War pilot, had drilled into her the cost of unchecked aggression. "This isn't just a mission," she told her crew. "It's about stopping a war before it starts." The Atlantic crossing. Precision under pressure. The B-2's 14,200-mile round trip to Iran pushed the limits of endurance. Capable of 6,000 nautical miles unrefueled, the B-2's conformal tanks reduced range to 4,500 miles due to drag. 3 aerial refuelings were critical. At 4 o'clock over the mid-Atlantic, a KC-135 tanker linked with Thompson's B-2. Refueling at 400 knots in turbulence was like threading a needle on a roller coaster in the dark. The boom operator extended the flying boom, and Thompson held position 30 feet behind, 15 feet below, with 0 lateral deviation. A single misstep could damage the $2.1 billion jet, forcing a divert. Fuel flowed at 1,000 pounds per minute as the boom operator battled the freezing stratosphere. By 15:30 Eastern Time, after 2 more refuelings in 15.5 hours of flight, the strike package entered a rocky airspace, where the operation's complexity escalated. The fighters sweep, clearing the skies. At 1600 hours Eastern Time, a 60-aircraft fighter sweep, F-22 Raptors, F-35 as F/A, 18 Super Hornets, and EA-18G Growlers, form a 60-mile wide corridor. For F-22s, led by Captain James Reaper Lee, scanned 200 miles with APG-77 radars, each carrying 6 AM, 120 AMRAAMs, and 2 Sidewinders. Lee radioed, "Disco 47, sweet picture, clean, no factor. The skies were clear." 8 F-35s, with /ASQ 239 suites, acted as stealthy sensors, detecting Iranian radars without emitting signals. 36 Super Hornets carried 60 AGM, 88G HARMs, while 8 Growlers unleashed 30 kilowatts of jamming power via Yelku-99 pods, flooding Iranian radars with false returns and static. At 1732, an S-300 battery near Natanz activated its 30N6E2 radar, only to be obliterated by a harm launch from a Super Hornet guided by F-35 data. By 1735, 31 harms had destroyed 31 radars and SAM sites, silencing Iran's defenses. Growlers jammed VHF to UHF bands, disrupting military and civilian communications. No Iranian fighters launched, and no missiles targeted the coalition, a testament to the sweep's dominance. The USS Georgia's salvo, chaos from the sea. 2 hours earlier, at 1700 hours Eastern Time, 1,200 miles away, the USS Georgia, a converted Ohio-class Sicilian, prepared its strike. Once a nuclear missile carrier, the $700 million submarine now held 154 Tomahawk Block 5 missiles, each costing $2 million and capable of delivering a 1,000-pound warhead 1,500 miles with inch-perfect accuracy. At periscope depth, 60 feet below the surface, it's in /BVS, one photonics mass risk detection, but Iran's radars, focused on the Persian Gulf, missed the sub in deeper waters. Launching Tomahawks was a high-stakes ballet. Each 3,000-pound missile, ejected by high-pressure gas, broke the surface at 50 feet per second, its solid rocket booster igniting for a 12-second climb to 550 miles per hour. The Georgia's ballast team adjusted trim tanks in real time to counter Newton's third law, preventing a broach or dive. At 16:05 Eastern Time, the first Tomahawk erupted, followed by 29 more by 16:06. There in /DPW, 23 radar altimeters maintained 100-foot terrain-hugging flight, guided by unjammable satellite imagery. The 127-minute flight to Isfahan was timed to hit 30 minutes before the B-2s, softening defenses and sowing chaos. Two-way satellite links relayed real-time imagery, doubling the missiles as reconnaissance assets. The Georgia vanished into thermocline, undetectable by sonar. The B-2 strike, redefining Fordow. At 1839 local time, Thompson's B-2 began its attack run. The GPS-aided targeting system, locked onto multiple satellites, ensured 5-foot accuracy. The rotary launcher spun, positioning the first GBU-57 MOP. Fordow, buried under 300 feet of granite, was a fortress until now. At 1740 Eastern Time, the bomb bay opened, releasing the 30,000-pound MOP. It hung briefly at 45,000 feet, GPS locking on, tail fins deploying. Gravity accelerated it to 700 miles per hour, delivering 1.5 billion joules, equivalent to a freight train's impact. Thompson felt the jet lurch as the fly-by-wire system adjusted. The weapons officer, Captain Maria Blaze Ortiz, confirmed, "Bird away, good separation, GPS lock confirmed." At 17 hours 40 minutes and 43 seconds, the MOP struck Fordow, registering 2.3 on the Richter scale. Its smart fuse delayed detonation until 180 feet underground, with a 5,300-pound warhead created a 30-foot cavity. Overpressures of 100,000 psi pulverized concrete, exploiting structural seams. 12 mops followed, their overlapping shockwaves collapsing Fordow's chambers. Natanz, less fortified, took 2 mops, while Isfahan's hexafluoride storage was vaporized by a Tomahawk, rendering the facility toxic. The human element. For Thompson, the mission was personal. Her brother, a Marine, was wounded in Iraq in 2003, fueling her resolve to prevent another rogue regime's rise. "We're not just dropping bombs," she told Ortiz. "We're stopping a nuclear nightmare." On the USS Georgia, Captain Daniel Hayes, a 20-year Navy veteran, watched the Tomahawk launch with pride. His crew, averaging 25 years old, executed flawlessly under pressure. An Isfahan worker, Reza, heard the Tomahawks whine at 19:05 Eastern Time. Too late to act. "It was like the sky screamed," he later told Al Jazeera. Iran's air defenses, overwhelmed by jamming and harms, stood no chance. Geopolitical fallout. In 25 minutes, 3 nuclear facilities, Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan, were destroyed. No missiles or fighters challenged the strike. Operation Desert Phantom set Iran's nuclear program back decades, proving U.S. air power's reach. Iran's supreme leader called it an act of aggression, but internal leaks revealed panic per Reuters. The strike exposed Iran's vulnerabilities, with its $20 billion defense budget dwarfed by the U.S.'s $877 billion per SIPRI. Regional allies like Israel and Saudi Arabia praised the operation, while Russia and China issued diplomatic protests. Distracted by the Pacific deception, Iran's economy, reeling from sanctions, faced new pressure, with oil exports down 30%, per Bloomberg. The strike reshaped the Middle East. Iran's nuclear ambitions, a threat since 2002, were crippled, bolstering U.S. credibility. A Pentagon official said, "We showed what precision and planning can do." The operation's success, blending B-2 stealth, Tomahawk precision, and fifth-generation fighters, set a new standard. Ukraine strikes, like the MiG-29 FSB attack, paled in scale but echoed the audacity. As the B-2s returned, meeting tankers with 180,000 pounds of fuel, Thompson reflected, "We changed history tonight." What are your thoughts? Can Iran rebuild its program, or has the U.S. redrawn the region's future? Share below and explore our coverage on Ukraine's raids or Russia's economic woes for more insights.